I jumped at the sound of the antique grandfather clock in my hallway suddenly springing to life. My eyes flew from the horror movie playing on TV to the time displayed above the old fireplace. Midnight. A chill went down my spine even before the clock finished its ominous chime. I never wound that clock. Hadn't touched the rusted key in years. So, why had it started working now? At the witching hour, no less. I tried ignoring the whispering tick, tick, tick echoing down the shadowy hall from the large, ominous clock. But as the minutes passed, the rhythmic sound grated on my nerves worse than nails on a chalkboard. Sighing in frustration, I paused the movie and flipped on more lights before cautiously approaching the clock to examine it. The dancing firelight made the carved wooden figures on the clock face seem to leer and contort. Heart quickening, I unlocked the glass door protecting the pendulum and peered inside the dark interior, looking for answers. A blast of icy air burst from the clock, making me stumble back. Hissing whispers and faint spine-chilling laughter swirled out around me. Overhead, the ceiling light flickered. Icy fear slithered down my neck as my wide eyes took in the clock's face. The hand counting seconds was now spinning rapidly backwards, while the minute and hour hands spun dizzyingly forward before spiraling in reverse. "What's happening?" I whispered into the gathering darkness. My breath puffed out as freezing air wrapped around me. Maniacal laughter rippled from the walls, now joining the insane spinning clock. I spun, searching for an intruder. "Who's there?" I shouted. Silence answered, but the frigid temperature continued dropping rapidly. Frost lining the walls and windows. Dark shapes darted at the edges of my vision, while my panicked reflection in the hallway mirror distorted into something lurking behind me for a split second before twisting back to normal. I rushed back downstairs just as deafening thunder shook the house. My hands shook so badly I could barely focus my phone's flashlight with one hand and dial 911 with the other. But only static answered my call. Rain lashed the windows as blizzard winds shrieked outside, hurling objects against doors and walls hard enough to shake panes. I dropped the useless phone and grabbed the fireplace poker, my only defense against the violent invisible forces besieging my home. A thudding crash accompanied shattering glass from upstairs. Screams and insane laughter rolled down from the second level along with a tornado of freezing debris I tried and failed to block. Then absolute silence fell. Holding my breath, I crept upstairs using the poker as a probing weapon in case things with glowing eyes and gnashing teeth waited for me in the dark. My flashlight cut through frigid curtains of dust, revealing entire sections of walls had been ripped away along with several doors. Jagged holes gaped in the ceiling and floorboards. I turned in slow circles, casting wild flashing light and shadows across the debris, searching for the source of such violent destruction. Amid the rubble of my bedroom, the antique clock stood untouched, still spinning madly and laughing to itself. With nowhere left to go, I descended to the basement with my poker and lame flashlight to wait out whatever had invaded my home, praying The splintered cellar door and debris blocked entry there too. But midnight was not my only phantom tormentor. All around me in the dark, the foundations themselves started creaking, shifting, breathing almost. A gigantic presence lurched against crumbling cinder blocks walls, threatening to crush my fragile human shell abandoned there in the deep alone. I shone my flashlight on cracking, strained walls as something huge lumbered by just feet away. Dust fell and hot, rancid breath filled the air. I shut my eyes tight, not screaming, barely breathing, praying it would pass me by. It did. Then the flashlight died, leaving me in dark silence. Time distorted. When the light returned, I found myself collapsed in a corner, clinging to my dying flashlight and poker. All was still, except my pounding heart. Then laughter floated down from my warped bedroom where the spinning clock marked the madness. Primal fear gripped me as I stared up the basement steps. What unnatural monster had I seen slithering under my home? What evil ritual had I stumbled upon, releasing chaos at midnight? Whatever I had woken with it atop the stairs, determined to end me. My only escape, if I still could, meant climbing the hellish staircase behind the softly rattling, splintered door now breezed by night air. The narrow beam of my flashlight unveiled the door's upper half missing completely. Jagged slashes surrounded the round hole at about 8 feet high. My heart ceased, realizing the damage aligned up perfectly with what some grotesque horned creature could have created bursting free from my home. Cloven prints sank deeply into the ruined floorboards, trailing out of the ruins toward the still laughing clock. I picked through debris strewn across the exposed floors. The fallen ceiling and insulation looked like snow piles or tunnels dug by bizarre animals. I kept my flashlight on my feet, scared of what might emerge from the swirling shadows. Lightning lit up the clock. The manic pendulum dripped with oil. Red light seeped from the carved figures' stretched, screaming eyes and mouths. Impossibly loud ticking pounded my skull, even over the storm outside. Thunder shook the remains of my bedroom. When it faded, only the amplified clock remained. Lightning struck the oak tree through my bedroom wall. The clock and I vanished in an explosion of fire and debris. Miraculously, I emerged from the rubble with only minor cuts and burns. In a stunned disbelief, I wandered the neighborhood ruins searching for help as dawn broke. Trees smoldered, power lines crackled fitfully against scattered wreckage, but not a single person emerged to help or question me. Finally, I glimpsed fire engines and police clustered artfully halfway down the block. I shouted hoarsely for help, staggering desperately toward the swirling lights. As I neared, I realized with dreamlike confusion that the focus of their activity emanated in truth from the remains of my bedroom. Impossible. I had just escaped that nightmare, yet somehow stood miles away, safe now. I spotted my own broken body pinned lifeless beneath rubble atop a blood-stained clock with silence etched in ash upon its face. Officials abandoned the inexplicably destroyed house, haunted by unseen eyes and distorted laughter. In the years after, some unlucky people saw a creepy figure with a big grin on cold November nights. This figure carried old clocks and caused trouble where people used to sleep peacefully. If you see the blind clockmaker, make sure to lock your doors or you might be trapped in despair forever. Rest now and enjoy the peace of your modern clocks. Set to your daily routines. Let go of worries and rely on the convenience of store-bought timepieces. But when chaos strikes at midnight, hope that time stands still a bit longer. Ignore any strange noises and focus on finding peace in your dreams. Just remember, some secrets are best left buried. Sleep well and imagine a calm future ahead.